Hello everyone and welcome to Worth It or Not, where I'm going to answer the simple question: is X-Men 4 The Wolverine worth it or not? What? It's not called X-Men 4. It's just called The Wolverine. Huh. Movie could have fucking fooled me. But welcome everyone. So yeah, this is I'm just going to tell you what I thought of give my overall thoughts on Wolverine and tell you whether or not it's worth it or not to spend your money on. Okay, so firstly I gotta give a little backstory with my experience with the X-Men movies, because I know I'm going to get asked that as soon as this video's up, so here it is. I like the X-Men films. I was a big fan, especially I like the X-Men films, and my history with the X-Men goes as far back as when I was a kid, watching the X-Men animated series from the 90s, which is still one of my favourite animated series of all time. In fact, it's probably one of my favourite animes from my childhood, because I absolutely loved it. The theme, the actors, fucking loved it. So when the X-Men movies were announced, I was excited as hell for them, and for the most part, I enjoyed the majority of the X-Men films. X-Men 1 and 2 were good. X-Men 3 was 50-50, some good parts, some bad parts in my opinion, but I can still enjoy it. X-Men Origins, I can... X-Men First Class I like, it's probably one of my favourites, and then now we're on Wolverine, basically. So firstly, I gotta say this, if I'm going to talk about Wolverine, I know I'm going to have to say my thoughts on X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'll be honest, I didn't like that film a lot. The only thing that saved that film for me was Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's always fantastic as Wolverine, and the more he's Wolverine, the more I fucking love it, because he's awesome in that role. He is Wolverine to this. He's basically the equivalent of Marvel's Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, or Tony Stark. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, basically. In fact, not Marvel, he is Marvel. I'm a fucking moron. But yeah. So he was the only thing I said. I did hate it. I hated the Baraka Pool scene, and those who get that, good, it's funny. I did hate the fact that they ruined Deadpool, but so that was my thought. I'm not gonna go into too much. I've already pissed and moaned about X-Men Origins as much as I can in the past. So let's get to this one, The Wolverine. They didn't title it anything else. It's just called The Wolverine. And as the little joke at the start stated, this is in a way X-Men 4. This is an X-Men sequel in my opinion, because it takes place after the events of X-Men 3. Henceforth, I can't say what is the big obvious one that is why, because it's a bit of a spoiler, but right from the start of the film we can tell that this is after the events of X-Men 4, X-Men 3. So this is after the whole events of like Jean dying and all that shit happening, and Logan is grief stricken over her, and really what's happened to him is he's become a bit of a loner again. We start off with him being a bum. He's living in the woods, massive beard, massive hair. He's very grief stricken, which is understandable why he'd be like that. And I also, it's been a while since I saw X-Men 3, but I could have sworn at the end of X-Men 3 he was a little bit happier than that. But it is understandable, so it's a little bit iffy in my opinion, but yeah, so we're following him as he's contacted by a person he saved during the Hiroshima bomb. He was there apparently in the Marvel Universe. Didn't know that, history learned. And he saved a Japanese soldier who went on to become a multi-billionaire in the Japanese industry of technology, and he offers him, as the trailer states, a chance to be mortal. He offers to take away his healing factor, basically. And that's basically the plot in a nutshell. We go on with that as basically, I can't go into too much without spoiling a lot, but we can say the fact that there are a lot of action sequences, and Wolverine does end up protecting someone. He actually ends up protecting the granddaughter of the old man who basically he saved. And really, that's the plot in a nutshell. And as you can tell, it's not exactly great. The plot is very... It's not even average, it's just below average. It's not horribly cringeworthy. The plot is iffy at most. It is entertaining in some parts, but there are a lot of continuity problems in it. Like, there's a couple of things I'm like, really? You're going with that? Really? One of the biggest things is that at a point in the film, Wolverine does get his healing factor taken away from him. Massive spoiler, I guess you kind of call that. It's not a spoiler because you can kind of guess it's going to fucking happen. But he does get his healing factor taken away from him, and he's shot several times, and the only thing that's keeping him alive is his adamantium skeleton. So that saved his life. But places he was shot were like very inconsistent. Like some places it looked like he was shot in his heart, some places it looked like shot in his head. And then also you have to take into consideration his claws. Like this is a major gripe for me, is that the reason Wolverine can put those claws out and put it back in is because the skin around there heals. If he doesn't have his healing factor, how the fuck can he do that and then put it back and there's not blood everywhere? Like, that really bugged the fuck out of me. I'm sorry, that's a nitpick, but that's what I gotta say. But the Nostalgia Guy done a whole video on this, but nitpicking is like, the film was so average in the story and just below average, sorry, that I was nitpicking the fuck out of it through the entire thing with the movie and the plot, continuity. Like, the claw thing really bugged the hell because he pulls out his claws dozens of times after he's fucking no longer got the healing factor and no blood. It really bugged the fuck out of me. I was like, what? Why? Why are you doing this? And before any fucking comic book geek goes ape shit and says, oh, but he had the bone claws before that. He had the healing factor before he got the adamantium skeleton. Okay, I know that. So even with the bone claws, he still would have, even if he had his bone claws, he would still be bleeding like a motherfucker out there. So, shut up. It really bugged the fuck out of me. I'm sorry I nitpicked it. It really bugged the hell out of me. Acting is overall good. The overall acting is good on all parts. Wolverine does a fantastic job. There are a couple of bad actors here or there, but nothing missable. The CG is good. There's a bit of CG here or there, but it's overall good. The only thing that was bad was the Silver Samurai, and I'm not spoiling anything, he's in the fucking trailer. And by the way, the trailer does spoil quite a lot of the film, so that's a bit of a gripe, unfortunately. Stop doing that with trailers, please. If you're going to put a trailer, don't reveal too much. The trailer reveals every fucking action sequence, so nothing was new. Every action sequence you'll see is in the fucking trailer, including the Silver Samurai one, which, in all honesty, the Silver Samurai fight was average. It wasn't that good. It was overall okay. It was heart-pounding in some instances, but it was very predictable. It was obvious what was going to happen and things like that. It's predictable. Also, a couple of the twists were blatantly fucking obvious. And yeah, it wasn't that good, in all honesty. The film overall is just below average. Like, I'll say this for now. If you liked X-Men 3, you'll like the Wolverine. If you hated X-Men Origins, you'll like the Wolverine. I'm going to say this right now. The Wolverine is far better than X-Men Origins in every way, in my opinion. X-Men Origins is just fucking... Holy shit, it's fucking bad. The only reason I like it is because of Hugh Jackman, and I can't say no to a Hugh Jackman film, sorry. Even though I've still not seen Les Mis. I don't know if that's a bad thing. But yeah. It's just... The only thing that saves it for me is Hugh Jackman. Like, it's better than X-Men Origins, I'll say that right now. Like, but the Wolverine overall is just an average. It's just a below average film. It's just below average. It's not like below average. It's just below it. The only thing that kind of maybe might bump it up to average is Hugh Jackman. He's fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I love Hugh Jackman. He's an awesome actor, and he is Wolverine. He is this guy. And then yes, I'm wearing a Wolverine t-shirt. No one else should play him. He is the Wolverine. So, for that, Hugh Jackman looks like he's having a ball in this film, and I love that fact. Looks like he's having a fucking ball in this film. And you can tell he's enjoying it, because it does show through the acting and all that. And I do like that. That he makes the film worth it for me, personally. I just don't feel like I waste my money on that part, but I'm going to say this right now. This film is not worth going to go and see in the cinema. I'm not going to lie, I would highly recommend waiting for this on DVD or maybe renting it when it comes out. Don't go to the cinema and see it. It's not really worth it. I only saw it in 2D. The only thing that makes it worth it, I'll say this right now, if you are going to go and see it, there is something after the midway credit scene. There is something in there, but I can't talk about it with going into spoilers. I'm going to talk about it in a minute or two, and I will say when I'm going to talk about it in case you don't want to know what it is. But I'll say right now, that scene made the whole film worth it for me, in my opinion, because that's the most awesome scene. And that's not a good sign. When the scene after the credits is better than your fucking film, yeah, that's... but I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm just going to say this. If you're a fan of Hugh Jackman, you'll like this film. If you liked X-Men 3, and hated X-Men Origins, go see the Wolverine. I will say that it is a better Wolverine movie than X-Men Origins, and I enjoyed it for that factor. The action scenes are, as I say, the Silver Samurai action scenes a bit of hit or miss. There's some good parts, some horrible parts. Other action sequences are good, but other action sequences are, and there's also the weird subplots and other things like that. I will say this right now, it is a good Wolverine film. I'll say if you like the Wolverine character, you'll probably love it. I thought it was okay, but as I say, I'm not going to say like, oh, everyone should go see this, because in all honesty, I would even say, even unless you're a die-hard hardcore Hugh Jackman or X-Men or Wolverine one, don't bother going seeing it. It's average, as I said, it's just below average, but I still enjoyed it, and for me, it was kind of worth it. But as I say, it's mostly due to the end scene, which I'm going to talk about in a minute or two. But I'd say give this, maybe wait for it on DVD. Like, that's my opinion on it. Like, I'd say at least wait for it on DVD or get it on rental, or when it eventually comes on for legal streaming, find it there. It's as I say, that's all I've got real. I know a lot of people have having mixed opinions on it. Some people are saying it's fantastic. Some people are saying it's horse shit. I don't think it's horse shit, but I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's just below average. And if you're a hardcore X-Men fan, you've probably already seen it. If not, I would say that if you like Hugh Jackman as an actor, go and see it. Now, from this point, I'm going to have to talk about the end credit scene, because I know I'm going to have to talk about it right here, right now, because I really want to talk about it. I'm not going to lie. So from this point on, spoiler alert. So go away if you don't want me to spoil the scene at the end of the credits. But if you're not going to see the film, then you don't give two shits. I will say this right now. I will give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once I finish drinking this, I'm going to talk. Right, if you're still here, you're prepared for spoilers. The end credit scene is a link to the X-Men Days of Future Past. There. I'm not kidding you. They're linking the X-Men movies with the X-Men First Class movies. With the Wolverine, the end credit scene is directly referencing the next X-Men film, X-Men Days of Future Past, due to the fact that Magneto's there, and Patrick Stewart as motherfucking Professor X is there. I shit you know, we got Gandalf, we got Captain Picard, they're back. And Magneto has his powers. It literally just, like, literally, it's basically Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, in an airport, going through customs, which, imagine him going through the fucking metal detector. He basically is just go through it, and then metal starts floating and everything, and you're like, oh shit, it's Magneto? And it's Magneto. He turns around, Magneto's right behind him, just stops him like that. And he says that events are coming in, but before that, it actually, Wolverine looks at a TV monitor, and it's Thrask Industries. And for those who don't know who Thrask Industries are, they are the ones in the X-Men universe who created the Sentinels, the mutant hunters. And it's very much referencing the fact that they are creating the Sentinels fairly shortly, and henceforth linking into Days of Future Past. And you're like, I was like, oh shit. And if you know at Comic-Con, they did show off the head of the Sentinels. So the Sentinels are going to be in the next ones. That's really good. I'm glad they're going to be. They really need to be in it a lot sooner. And it's basically linking in that Wolverine sees Magneto, and Magneto says, there are events coming that you cannot comprehend, and you will need to help me with that. And Hugh Jackman's all like, why the fuck would I help you, bitch? Yeah, exactly like that. And yeah, he says that, and he says, oh, I won't be able to convince you. But I know someone who might be. And then there comes fucking Professor X in his wheelchair. He's like, motherfuckers, I'm rolling in. And he basically just goes, Wolverine, we need your help. There's a better line than that, but I'm just super chuffed to see Magneto and Professor X back, because I loved Patrick Stewart and Sir, I can't remember his fucking name. Gandalf, that's all I know him as. I was really glad to see them back, and I really enjoyed that. And that scene alone really just made the whole film worth it. It just bumps it above average. But that scene was so epic. And I was like, oh, awesome. Want more. And it just gets me hyped for Days of Future Past. I was like, oh, give me it now. Because I liked X-Men First Class. I really liked that film. Couple issues with it here or there, but I liked it overall. My main issues with a couple of the artistic looks and a couple of portrayal characters, but Days of Future Past sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it. This was directly linking it to that, so we are going to see it, and I cannot fucking wait. Oh! So hopefully this is confirmation that Wolverine is going to be in X-Men Days of Future Past, because he was in X-Men First Class as a little cameo where he basically just told Magneto and Xavier to fuck off. And by the way, I love that scene. So I can't wait to see how he's going to be portrayed in this thing, and how it's going to play out. I cannot fucking wait. Oh! Get here now. So yeah, that's basically the spoil. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. So overall, definitely just wait for this film to come out in DVD if you are planning on going to see it, unless you're a hardcore X-Men and Wolverine fan. Otherwise, yeah, not worth it. So what is my thoughts on it? I'm going to have to say that X-Men 4, The Wolverine is not worth it. It's, oh sorry, that's the wrong thing. There it is. That's the wrong, I clicked the wrong fucking thing. It's not worth it, I'm sorry. It gets the not worth it ribbon. It's not worth a pickup, sorry, I really am sorry. It's not worth going to see it in the cinema, but I will definitely say that unless you're a hardcore X-Men fan, you'll probably like it. But I definitely got to say it's not worth picking, not worth going to go and see it in the cinema. So I think that's all I've got to say. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Scottish Warren 92, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now.